Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to the third video of our 100 projects with JavaScript journey. In today's video, we're going to see how we can build a counter app. Counter app is actually a very basic project of JavaScript, but it is needed. It is really important to master JavaScript. So let's see what happens in this counter app. So if you press on the add button, if you press on the add button, the number increases by 1. If you press on the subtract button, it decreases the number by 1. And if you press the reset button, the number goes back to 0. This is what we're going to do today. And since we are going to do our JavaScript from scratch, I'm going to be removing all the JavaScript code. Now let's check our HTML out for a bit. Here we have a count class name where we are showing our number, this thing. And here we have all our buttons. Here there's a buttons class name, and subtract, reset, add class name. And these are what we're going to use to make this app of ours. So first of all, we have to get this count and these buttons in our JavaScript. So let's start. First, getting the count query selector, and we're going to get it using the count class name. Next, we have to get our buttons. Buttons is it? How are we going to get it? With the buttons class name. Alright. Next, we have to create a function which will do all the calculations for us. Function, and let's name it calc. Alright. Now we already made a function. Now we have to tell our code when this function is gonna get called. So when is our function is getting called? We have to call it when we click on these buttons. So we have to add events on these buttons. So buttons dot add event listener on click. Okay. Click, and then when the event is clicked, we are calling the calc function. Done. Now let's see if it is working correctly. Let's console this E of ours and see what is in it. Inspect. Now I am pressing this add button. Okay, so here you can see that from the line 7 of our code, this thing is consoling. And if you scroll down a bit, you'll see a thing named target. Okay, yeah, target. And we press on this add button, right? So you can actually see this. Our button contains this add class name. Now what we have to do is, all these buttons have distinct class. This has add, this has reset, and this has subtract. What we have to do in our code is, if our target contains add class name, it will add 1 to our count, and if it is reset, it will reset our count to 0, and if it is subtract, it will decrease our count by 1. So let's do it. If our e.target target's class list contains add, just a second, contains add, we are gonna add 1 to our count, to the inner HTML. Okay, done. We're done adding. Now we have to do the subtract part. If our class list contains subtract, let's copy the class name. If our target contains the class subtract, it will decrease our inner HTML by 1. And if it is reset, what it is gonna do is it will reset, it will set the inner HTML of count to 0. Okay, HTML equal to 0. Now let's check if it is working or not. So if I press on the add, yeah, it is increasing our number by 1. See, it is working. And if we press the subtract, yes, it is working. And if you press a reset, yeah, it is going back to 0. So this is how you create a counter app. Let me recap it a bit again. So here we have some class names that is distinctive from each other. Add has its own class name, reset has its own, subtract has its own, and all the buttons are in a class name too. And we have a class name for count, which is showing our number. And here we are getting our count and buttons and here we are adding the event, like what event is what, after doing what will do what. Okay, so we, after clicking, our event is clicking. If our button is clicked on, it will call the calc function. And what we are doing in the calc function, we are checking if our class, if our target contains a class named add. If it contains add, it will add 1 to our count. If it contains subtract, it will decrease our inner HTML by 1, and if it is reset, it will set our inner HTML to 0. I hope you understand this whole thing, and please practice it on your own. And yeah, master JavaScript by practicing them. Okay, so that's it for today. See you guys in the next video. Allah Hafiz.